Hello and welcome to Brutally Honest Level Review with your host, NateFH, the Geometry Dash YouTube series where I give my brutally honest review of levels with no sugarcoating. And in this week's video, we will be reviewing Brainpower by Zafkiel and more. Remember to subscribe for more level reviews and make sure to comment what level you want me to review and I'll pick one out for the next episode. Brainpower by Zafkiel and a few others is an extreme to be a mega collab created in 2.2 but started in 2.1. Just like every mega collab, this level took a little bit to finish. This level's theming is based around the song Brainpower, which I learned is a very popular song in many rhythm games, so seeing it take this long to be in a GD level is pretty surprising. Same with Centipede, but I'm not talking about that level right now, as I don't plan on to in fear of upsetting all the 12-year-olds and 9 Circles glazers. Just a quick disclaimer, the footage in the background is not my completion, it is indeed speed hacked. If you'd like to see my completion, check the link in the description. As you may have noticed, the gameplay of Brainpower can be categorized as generic flow, design, easy, or entry extreme. And well, you might be right, but this one's actually pretty good. This level is well playtested with little to no bugs, except this one bug at 67 that I died to twice but forgot to save footage for. Anyway, the first part of this level is a short ship leading to a pretty chill robot and cube part. The only issue I have is you have to click this black orb to remove us all on top of the next orb. This annoys me because of this. What? I hate when flow creators do this shit instead of just like putting the time and effort into actually making gameplay where you have to click the orbs. They're just lazy and do this where they put a toggle thing on it. It doesn't seem like it would break the level at all, so I don't really understand why this needs to be fixed. Following that is a ball that is pretty simple other than needing to buffer this red orb. Next is this duel, which is also pretty easy. This part kind of plays like an auto when you learn it, which even then takes 2 seconds. And now with one of my biggest gripes with the level. The level can be kind of a drag to play from zero because most of the 3 parts are basically the same click time with little to no variation in those parts. Keep in mind, because this level is about 2.5 minutes of gameplay, that makes it even worse. Thankfully, the second half of the pre-drop is much better. The ship and wave section is very different from the previous 3 parts, which is really refreshing and might be the glue that keeps this level from becoming Dale from Zero. I suppose it also helps that this part is genuinely fun to play. This part was harder for me than it probably should have because my screen wasn't very smooth going through this part and recording, but it still got consistent. Nothing much to say about the next 2 parts, as both are just solid click sync, except for this random blind black orb after this transition in this part. Luckily it's bufferable, so you just need to remember to click. Okay, so I know we're at 44%, but guys, it's okay. We only have 2 parts left to cover before the drop. The first click for this part is a little weird, but a good indicator to use is the arrow right after the ship portal. When I figured this out, this transition became 100 times more consistent. Out of all the parts in the pre-drop, this one has to be the most fun to watch for me. This small ship part with the slopes and blue pads is a standout for me. The one thing I don't like about this part is the random black orb that feels not needed. And it is, but because of the stupid toggle orb bullcrap, you need to click it. Finally, we are on the last part of the pre-drop, and this plays basically the same as the first 2 parts, but here I'm more okay with it, as it's a good way to give the player a break before the drop, which thankfully works well in the level, as it's by far the easiest part. Okay, after around a minute and a half of pre-drop, we're finally at the drop, and wait, wow, we're about 60% into the level. Okay, yeah, so here's another of my issues with the level. Why is the drop so short? I mean, it's not even a minute long. Now you might be saying, well Nate, that's just how the song is, and you would be kinda correct. So in the original song, there's 3 drop sections in the song, and the last is used in Brainpower, which means Zafkiel 100% could have doubled the drop length by using the first and third sections of the song and adding them together, which would fix the pre-drop being most of the level, but this is a fundamental issue that can't be fixed by an update. What makes this even worse is that the drop is fucking awesome! Learning and playing the drop is really fun. I thought this may be one of my favorite extremes, but sadly, the pre-drop isn't nearly as good. If you do go for this, make sure to learn what orbs you can buffer, as there's a few in the first part which you should to make it as consistent as possible. The screen reviewer also tripped me up when practicing. I thought you would pop down like you do in a lot of timings like this, but there's an H block here, so instead you hit this pad instead. The following part I don't really have much to say about other than it's really fun, but the next part I do, and it's all in this one wave part. This part felt really hard to me until I figured out you could do it like this. So much for making sure the player does everything the intended way, I guess. Despite this being much easier, I still managed to die here like 6 times. Don't ask how. Nothing much to say for the last part, it just slaps. The deco in every part is done very well. They all follow the electric blue and yellow color scheme, while with some parts using other colors, like purple, green, and red. Not a single part looks bad or too out of place, but it looks like a collab as all the parts are still different. You'll see that mostly something related to the brain or electricity in the background or block designs, One thing I think is a little funny is that 6 parts have brains in the background for what they're spitting. Why, you may ask? Because of this. Not to help the creators, but 2 of the parts with spitting brains have the same asset, so take that for how you will. Anyway, all the backgrounds are done very well and I like them all. The ones I dig in particular is the second one, the second part, both of them in the 6th part, the 9th one, and the last one. Now thinking about it, the backgrounds of the 6th and the 9th part are very similar. In fact, these parts are very similar. Are these made by the same guy? I really like the last background because I feel it sums up the theming of the level perfectly with the brain and electric circuit bits on the sides. Speaking of this part, holy shit does this block design cook. The way it looks like you're looking inside of a computer is genius. It really sucks that this is only on screen for a third of a second, and I only noticed this because I was looking in the level editor. This is something I wish the level did more of, however. A large number of the blocks are just standard high quality block designs with a themed background. Most of the theme that's in the blocks are just a standard lightning bolt symbol. For me, my favorite parts are either the last part, the first part of the drop, or the part with the impossible wave. You know, at the time of writing the script, I'm still going for Requiem, and the mini-wave duel is kicking my ass, so maybe I'm just very wave deficient, which is very ironic considering I made a 9-star Ghost Extreme. Maybe this means I need to make another one. Yeah, like that's gonna happen. Overall, Brainfire by Zafkiel and many others is quite a good design level with some really interesting gameplay balance. With all being said, I'll give this level an 8 out of 10, with my only real complaint being that the drop being super short or the pre-drop being super long, and the block design not being as well themed as the backgrounds. I highly recommend this level, but just be ready for the long pre-drop and to make sure to learn what is and isn't bufferable.